You ready? Because it's on.
Okay.
Okay. Don't knock anything over. Okay. My chair back. Yo.
Hi. So this is our first ever podcast episode, and we don't know what we're doing.
No, this is totally winging it. I'm Erin.
I'm Anna. We live in Salem, Massachusetts, and we really like to knit. And so we are here to talk about projects and crafting and all sorts of other
whatever
things.
Pops up randomly and maybe inappropriately, but it's okay. And our podcast is going to be called Censored Double Decreases. Censored because sometimes we say things that might be a little bold. Double because there's two of us, and decreases because by that time you just need a knitting word to use. So that's it. Okay.
Well, let's, I guess, tell them a little more about ourselves. So I'm Anna. I'm originally from Brazil, and I moved here to go to college, and now I own a yarn shop called Circleofstitches here in Salem, and I hand-dye yarn under the name Toil and Trouble. And Erin and I met at midnight at my shop 4 years ago at this point.
I think it was 3.
The shop opened in February of 2015, so it's actually turning 4 this month. And Erin is a vet.
Ugh. Don't tell people that. I'm a tax accountant. You can't out me on camera.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to start over?
No, it's okay. I was kidding. So yeah, I'm a veterinarian in Peabody, which is the next town over from Salem. I am fortunate enough that when I get a couple minutes at work or usually on my lunch break, I try to knit a little bit because it just relieves stress and kind of recenters me a little bit. Plus I have to do surgery on 2-pound kittens, so I'm very good with tiny needles and tiny yarn and lace and delicate things. So I like cats. There's cat hair all through my yarn. I have 2 cats at home. One is perfect and one is a jerk. I had a dog. I had to put him to sleep, and I think cats are a better fit for my lifestyle because I like to get up and do stuff and be spontaneous, and it's better with cats. Anna has cats too.
I have 4 cats, and they may or may not show up during this recording. If not today, I'm sure they will in the future. I have 3 black cats and a gray one.
If we figure out how to put pictures in and be fancy, I'll try to remember to put pictures in of the cats, and we'll put a little sidebar.
We don't know how to make videos, so we will figure some of this out eventually.
Maybe.
Hopefully. We'll probably figure out how to do show notes at some point once we actually figure out where we're posting this. This is how sort of spontaneous this whole thing
We have a lot of snow today, and we just needed something to do. I had the day off, Anna had the day off, so here we are doing the thing.
Yeah, so there's a snowstorm happening right now. We closed the shop early, and so we are holed up with all our knitting. And maybe we should tell them about the knitting that we're wearing.
Yeah, let's talk about what we're wearing. Go ahead.
So I am wearing, this is the folded sweater by Veera Valimaki, whose name hopefully I'm not butchering too much, and this is actually my own hand-dyed yarn. This base is called Sonnet. It's 100% merino fingering weight, and this color is named Endora after the mother in Bewitched, and I love purple, so I'm not wearing a shawl, but I'll show you one that I just finished later.
And I am wearing 2 pieces of knitwear. I know, only 2 today. And extra cat hair. This is actually a shawl I just finished. I wrote the pattern for, and it's going to be coming out sometime in the next couple weeks. I called it Jettisoned because it's a scrap shawl. It's yarn that you've discarded from other projects. This is my leftovers from Locatelli's Starting Point shawl. Schlanket. It's large. So this is a nice triangle-shaped piece. Mostly in Skeinny dipping yarn. With the background is Shibui Birch, the gray one. And then my sweater is the light rain sweater by Locatelli. My sister Kirsten and I both knit one for Rhinebeck last year. Mine is in Skeinny Dipping, who's a local dyer out of Woburn, Massachusetts. Her name is Christine. Her yarn is awesome.
And she's awesome, so check her stuff out.
It's a single ply merino, and the color is Blue Raspberry Slurpee, and it's fabulous. And I wear this everywhere. I love it. It's perfect. Fingering weight is the way to go for pullovers as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, that's what we're wearing. I'm gonna try to redo this thing quickly.
And speaking of shawls, Erin and I actually both finished shawl designs last night. And so one of the extra benefits of recording this today is that we were both up really late to finish our shawls and got no sleep. So it means that we're extra eloquent today.
Oh yeah.
But this is the design that I just finished, and I guess we'll find out after the fact if this is actually fitting in the frame. But this shawl is actually going to be the official knitted shawl of the Knit North yarn crawl for this year. We always have a knitted and a crochet shawl. This was done using 2 skeins of Malabrigo sock, but with the gauge it can also be 2 colors of sport weight. The color at the top is called Lettuce, and the color at the bottom is Indicida. And Pico takes forever. But I think that this is going to be called When the Rain Falls, and I think that by the time this video ends up being online, this pattern will already be live on Ravelry.
Hopefully it'll be rain and not snow.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It's so pretty. It's so squishy.
Thank you.
Just squish it.
Yeah. So what are you working on right now?
Right now, oh boy, where to begin? So this behemoth has been bothering me for about 4 months now. I have project ADD. I'm a very, what's not a monogamous knitter? I don't know.
Promiscuous knitter?
Promiscuous knitter? Sure, I'm advertising that. So this is my Texture Time Mystery Knit Along, which by now is no longer a mystery because the Knit Along ended in November. But it's a bunch of yarns that I'll talk about more when it's finished. There's some token mohair because it's Stephen West. Some Malabrigo, some local string theory, I think is the blue. Yeah, and one of Anna's, what's this one called?
That color is called Gather at the Lake.
Gather
it was
at
a
the
color that I did for the Squam art workshops last year, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
It goes so nicely with everything else. I had to use it. So that's that one. I'll finish it sometime. It's apparently like 700 stitches when you pick up the border, so I'm relaxing on it for a little bit. I have other things to do.
Nice.
How about you?
I'm actually unknitting right now. So these are socks, and this is Miss Bab's yarn that I got at Rhinebeck. I wish I remembered the name of the colorway. It's something Paradise, so I guess that'll go in the show notes, wherever that is. But I have a, oh, you're looking up, I have a Rhinebeck tradition where I treat myself to 1 or 2 skeins of Miss Bab's sock yarn every year. I don't tend to shop for a lot of yarn, having a yarn shop, but Miss Bab's is sort of my special treat to myself. So every year I knit myself at least 1 pair of vanilla socks in Miss Bab's yarn, so it's sort of my mindless project. But I ended up making the foot a little too long before the gusset because I was knitting at the movies and I didn't want to stop, so I kept going. Yeah, Almost Paradise is the name of this colorway. It's really pretty.
Like the 80s.
Yeah, I was knitting this while watching the Ruth Bader Ginsburg movie a couple weeks ago, and so I just kept going in the dark, and so my foot ended up too long.
Whoops.
And by the way, that is an awesome movie, which you haven't seen yet, but you should definitely watch it. Full disclosure, I did cry.
Oh,
but
really?
so did Amanda, so it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth watching.
I do intend to see it. I like watching movies at home better because then you can pause them, and if you have to rip something back or look at a pattern, you can do that, and you can get up and go get snacks or whatever. So I tend not watch movies in a theater because I have to watch when I knit, which is why I'm not knitting right now. But
I'm
yes.
just not looking at the camera. I'm just that.
I hope it's still on. I guess we'll find out in about 20 minutes.
So what do you have on the needles?
Next up. This is another Hobie Locatelli pattern. This is the 3-color cashmere cowl. I'm about 3/4 of the way done, I think, maybe 2/3. I'm knitting it in Shibui Pebble. The purple accent band is velvet, and I can't remember what, I think the white is bone, and I can't remember what the gray is.
It's ash.
That sounds right. So that's a fun little knit. It's portable. I knit on it at the gym sometimes just because it's small and I can't take schlank it with me to the gym, obviously. That'd be a disaster. But it's very nice. It's very soft. It's going to need some nice blocking to open up the lace, but it's going to be a shop sample for Anna's shop when it's done. And it's going to be right at home.
So I don't have problems with project sizes at the gym because I don't go to the gym. But Erin is really good about going to the gym, and she also does this thing where she hauls around with massive weights and backpacks.
It's only 40 pounds right now. It's
only 40. I'm pretty sure she keeps me around as an extra ruck in case she needs more weight when she's running.
No, but it's nice because like the ruck, it's called Go Ruck, so it's like military inspired fitness for normal people, kind of. And it's a backpack, so it pulls your shoulders back, and you know we all knit, so the tendency is to hunch forward. So it's just a nice balance, and it helps to kind of just remove everything from where it tends to go when I'm swearing at my knitting sometimes.
Yeah, I don't plan on running around with weights on my back.
I do. You're out of whips, right? You just have the socks
so
right
I
now?
have the
and your
socks
sweater.
and I have my sweater. So I always have multiple projects, but sometimes I have projects with deadlines. So I had to finish that shawl design. But one of the things that we have happening right now at the shop is called the Sweater Challenge. This is our 3rd annual Sweater Challenge, where you start knitting a sweater generally at the end of the year or early beginning of the next year, and then you finish it by our anniversary party, which is always like the first week of March.
March 7th this year.
Yeah, March 7th this year. And so I'm working on a Nordiska by Caitlin Hunter. The yarn that I'm using is Harrisville Shetland, which is a really beautiful, crisp fingering weight yarn. It's really great for color work. Let's see, can I hold all my colors? But I made some changes to the pattern. I changed the gauge on it because I didn't think that this yarn worked well at a looser gauge. So instead of being knit at 20 stitches to 4 inches, it's at 22. And the original pattern has a V-neck, but I changed the front of mine to be a crew neck because I'm making it specifically to wear over this linen dress that I have, and I just preferred the crew neck on the top. And I had to add a couple inches to the body because even though I'm really short, I have a long torso, and the stripes were hitting me
So good.
right here.
It looks so perfect.
Thank you. So I'm really excited about that.
I love these little cable details in the raglan. That's so cute.
Yeah, so I actually didn't even realize this until I started the pattern, but the raglan has these sweet little cables, which is really nice. And you can see here, I just started the color work on the sleeve, but I decided that maybe trying to do color work and talk coherently was a bad idea.
Ambitious.
But speaking of Fair Isle, and if you want to see my floats, show off my dirty laundry, my floats. Erin just took a Fair Isle class, and you brought your project.
I did. That's a nice transition. Anna's shop hosted a Fair Isle class that was taught by one of the employees named Louise, and she walked us through the Baa-ble hat by Donna Smith, I believe.
Yeah.
This is just a bunch of stash yarn. I think there's some wool. I think there's some acrylic. I don't know. I just grabbed a bunch of stuff that went together that was DK and went to town. But it turned out pretty well. I'd done some Fair Isle before, but not formally, like with the two-handed. So I got that, and Louise taught us some really neat techniques for catching our floats. And I think they look pretty good.
Oh yeah, did you catch the floats on that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
caught them when they were longer than 5.
Nice. Why don't you see if you can get that closer to the camera so
Mm.
people can...
I don't have any idea where
Yeah.
the depth is on this thing.
We'll see.
We'll see. It's an experiment.
Yeah, I don't catch my floats. Ever. Yeah, I guess none of them in this project are that long.
But she taught us this really neat trick for, like, you don't have to drop your yarn. You just kind of start the stitch and flip it over the needle and then pull it back. I can't explain it. I can't even do it again if I don't look it up. But it worked. It was nice. So that's the Baa-ble hat. I opted not to put a pom-pom on it because I think they're a little silly. But that's just me. I know a lot of people really like pom-poms. I'm sorry.
I like pom-poms.
I just don't have to make one. I should.
Oh, the truth comes out.
I know. It's going to look like something the cat would cough up if I do it wrong. So I'm just leaving it as is for
I will
now.
make you a pom-pom if you want. I am not pom-pom adverse.
I do have one more whip. Just since everybody has this yarn right now, I figured we should mention it because it's so hard to find. It's so expensive. This is Left by Woolfolk. This is like the purpley aubergine color. They don't have names, they have numbers, and I don't know which one it is. But it's super soft. It's really nice. I just bought 2 skeins to play with because I didn't want to commit to buying 10 for a sweater just now because that's like $200, and I just finished a sweater and I have 3 more sweater quantities to knit up soon. So it's just going to be a cowl. It's the Pearl Soho kind of herringbone cowl, but I shortened it and I'm going to make it a little taller so it's more like a collar kind of cowl and not a big drapey thing because it's a stiff fabric even on 11s, US 11s, 8mm. So
what are those eagles?
Those are the Knit Picks.
Oh.
They're options ones, the interchangeables. So yeah, that's that. I started on Christmas Eve. I just need to finish it. It's quick. So, but the yarn is lovely. Everybody's been talking about it, and the turtle dove sweater from Miss Foster Co. is the one that everybody is knitting with it. I just didn't know if I wanted to buy that much of it right now to make a sweater that's a lot of money. So I'm not a real doctor. I'm a veterinarian, so I'm money conscious about my yarn.
Did the Grocery Girls make one of those sweaters?
Yes.
Am I misremembering?
No. Tracy made one. I don't remember if Jody did or not. I think hers was like the charcoaly gray color. It's really pretty and she loves it. And everybody that's knit it says it's a really fun knit and it's so super soft and it's just nice and lightweight even though it's a bulky weight yarn. Because it's like a mesh with the merino. It's a cotton mesh with the merino kind of blown down the middle of the tube. Mm-hmm. So it's very lofty. It's really nice. But it is, I think I paid $17.50 for like 110 yards maybe. Mm-hmm. So it's a $200 sweater. Yeah. So someday, I have other things first. So I'm going to be talking too fast in this. I talk really fast.
I don't think you're talking too fast.
We'll see how it goes.
See, I'm sad that your socks aren't on the needles anymore because then we could have disagreements about the right needles to use for socks.
We could.
I mean, we could still just have it theoretically and be like, throw down.
I have them with me.
You have them with you?
We should save the needles for because we have to cover like the stuff from the Fiber Festival and
that's
actually
fair.
I think that's about it and like current events.
Well, speaking of super squishy yarn, since you showed your super squishy, I just finished this hat and it's been on Instagram and I need to finish the pattern, but it's just super simple because the yarn is awesome. This is Nunki by Annie Blatt.
I haven't touched it since you blocked it.
Yeah, and it's a mix of lamb's wool and yak down. So it just gives it a little bit of a dark halo. This color's the cream, but you can see it. I wish I had some with me. In the other colorways, it always just has kind of this darker like sheen to it, and it's just so soft. And this will have a pom pom at the end, but I'm actually putting a faux fur pom pom on it.
Vegan faux fur pom pom.
Actually, do I have it? Excuse me while I rummage through my giant moon tote bag of projects. No, must be in the other bag.
No.
Oh wow. Yeah, I do have other socks in here.
Oh yeah. Is that Wildcat?
Yes, so this pattern,
I have that one. I keep meaning to knit it.
there's actually still a tag on it from when it was on display, but this is called Wildcat Socks. It's actually one of my patterns that I designed for the Lakeside Fiber Retreat.
Which is coming up.
Was it last year or was it the year before?
It was the year before, because it was a different pattern last year, I think.
So I also host a retreat called Lakeside Fiber Retreat that happens in New Hampshire every May.
It's so fun. It's the best part of my spring.
Yeah, so we call it knitting camp, but it's not just knitting classes, but it's, a 3-day weekend out in the woods, making crafty things and knitting, and it's all inclusive, so you stay there and you get fed, and it's nice, and then you have to come back to reality and make your own food, and it's really disappointing.
But it's awesome. It's so much fun.
Well, speaking of socks, we have some other sock yarn around. Do you want to talk about your spun right round?
Yeah. So Anna just got a shipment of this from this Spun Right Round, which is a hand dyer, indie dyer in New York, Rochester.
Yeah.
So this is the Happy Holly colorway. I limited myself to one skein. It was staring at me. I sat in the same spot for knit night for like 2 weeks, and it was haunting me from across the room from like 20 yards away. And I'm like, finally, it's purple, it's teal, it's perfect, it's me. Had to get it. So this is Happy Holly on her classic sock, superwash merino 4-ply. It's a nice high twist. It'll look good. But the colors.
Have you unscanned it yet to look at the colors?
No, it's just in my pile of things I'm gonna do something with soon. But it's too pretty to really touch even right now. I'm just letting it get accustomed to my house. I guess, I don't know. But I love it, and I could have spent easily $400 on her yarn, but I did that not too long ago with some other yarns, so I'm on a little bit of a yarn diet, although you wouldn't know it right now. I'm just trying to work through more before I buy too much more. So.
Yeah, I have some sock yarn to show off too. So this is a single ply, so it's a fingering weight, but not really a sock yarn. But this is some hedgehog fibers, which actually someone who came by the shop, her name is Lisa, she's really nice. She was trying to match this. Well, she came in with a bunch of hedgehog because she signed up for the club, and so she was matching these to Spun Right Round colorways. And she looked at this one, she goes, I don't really like it, but I think it would look good on you. And she just handed it to me. I couldn't believe it. And so
that's awesome.
It's so pretty, and it actually sort of complements
it really does.
This. Yeah, it's too bad that they're like completely different bases because this is my classic sock, which is the Merino nylon blend for socks. But this was my colorway that I dyed for January this year, and it's called "Where the Thrush Sings," and it's a translation of the first line of a well-known Brazilian poem that's called "Song of Exile," that was written by a Brazilian while he was living outside of the country about how much he missed Brazil. So,
that's perfect.
Yeah, that was the inspiration for that. Here it is. I have no idea if any of this is showing up, but I am definitely, I don't usually keep a scan for myself of the club colorways, but I liked this one a lot, so this will be my next pair of socks once I finish the Miss Babs ones. Yeah. So that's what I have on here, and I think that's what we have for yarn, but we should talk about it.
Yeah,
that's from the fight. Oh no. Is it back on?
It's back on. Center double decreases. Take 2.
Alright, so as we mentioned, we don't actually know what we're doing with videos, and so...
We're learning. It's fine.
Yeah, so the video cut out right when Erin was trying to talk about her sweater, and we didn't realize it until we talked for like another 20 minutes. So, let's recap. But also, it's dark out now. You know, as we sort of spent time figuring out what was going on with the technology, the sun has gone down, so...
Yeah, blizzardy dark of night. Dinner soon, yay, I'm hungry. Yeah, let's do the thing.
We're gonna go out for sushi. It's gonna be great.
And sake.
So right before we cut out, I was saying that you should tell them about your nightshade sweater.
Yes. So the next garment I'm going to cast on is the Bubble Sweater by Stephen West. Before we get to it, let me just make sure this is going. Just because now I'm paranoid. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So the Bubble Sweater by Stephen West. It's a DK top-down yoked colorwork sweater with baubles around the yoke. So I'm going to use these 2 colors alternate them for the baubles. These are 80/20 Merino Cashmere Knit Picks Cabra base that's left over from the Comfort Fade cardigan that I made last year. I dyed them myself, and they go together.
It doesn't have any nylon content? It's just Merino Cashmere? It's not MCN?
No, just Merino Cashmere.
Nice.
And then this is the Harrisville. Now my brain's dying. We talked about food, and now I can't stop thinking about it.
Harrisville Nightshades.
Harrisville Nightshades in Talk Radio. So if you're not familiar with the Nightshades line, basically what it is blacks with undertones of different colors. So this is the black purple, which goes really well with my teal and my purple teal. So I love those together. I have a couple more skeins of the Nightshades at home. I'm just waiting on some needles so I can cast on the neck because I don't have any right now.
And she will try to finish this by March 7th.
My goal is 3 weeks. We'll see.
So that it's her sweater challenge sweater for our anniversary party.
Even though I already finished a sweater, but it wasn't shop yarn. It was mill-end, like a merino mohair blend from Harrisville. Really lovely. Nice price, like $8 for 230 yards. So my sweater cost me under $50, which was great.
Yeah, last summer we drove up to Harrisville to visit the mill, and we got to go to their beautiful store and look at all their beautiful mill ends.
And the river, and just very nice up there. Worth the trip, definitely.
Yeah. And the general store was really awesome too.
Yeah.
Best BLT I've had in a long time.
More food.
I know. It's definitely dinner time. We're definitely thinking with our stomachs now.
I was going to say something else and I don't remember. My sweater, I'll have it ready for next time. I just need to block out the hood because right now it's hanging funny. It looks strange. But that'll come. So that's those.
Yeah, was that your first FO of this year? The cable
sweater? The sweater? Yeah, I think so. But then I had like 4 things that I finished in the last week. So I just had a lot of things that were kind of almost done.
Yeah.
And then kind of pushed through to the end to finish everything. This is my other FO that I brought from last week. These are the electric slide socks from Rye Flower Knits. Melinda is in Western Canada, I believe. I should have looked this up since the camera was having a fit.
Oh well.
I think she's in Alberta, maybe British Columbia. I can't remember. Sorry, Melinda. But they were test knit for her. The yarn is crazy Zobber Ball with just a little bit of stash yarn for a contrast teal. This is, what did I say? Wool nylon?
Yes, wool nylon.
Yeah, so I think it's 75-25, but they're fraternal twins, but I love them. The color is perfect for me.
Yeah, the crazy Zobber Balls have really, really long color repeats, so you can't get perfectly matched socks.
I don't even think, I think it's just that the two different strands, I think they're like totally offset. I don't even know if they repeat like at all.
I don't know. I've never managed to make it repeat.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it's
okay
kind of semi-random, but they're gorgeous, and it's a really nice sturdy yarn, and I've used it for cows. It's even soft enough to put on your neck, which is surprising because it feels kind of rough in the skein, but it's lovely. I love it. Yeah, so those are my test knit socks.
Nice. Yeah, and the other thing we wanted to tell you folks about is the Boston fiber.
Farm to fiber.
Yeah.
Long
Dinner brain. So that just happened on Sunday. I'm not sure if it was their second or third year, but it was our first time going. And it happens in Boston at the Boston Public Market, which is like a fancy food court with really nice food vendors and other sort of booths. And they have pop-up space for other vendors. So they had all the farm stalls there.
I think there were like 20 to 25 yarn vendors this year. It was a nice mix.
Yeah, we specifically went, not just because it's fibery and fun, but because we love Tammy from Wing and a Prayer Farm. If you don't know her farm, it's a farm up in Vermont, and she shares beautiful videos of her life on the farm.
Shaftesbury, Vermont. It's like 3 hours out of Boston.
I think it might be written on your yarn tag.
Probably. Shaftesbury, Vermont.
Yeah, but you should definitely check her out if you haven't. And she's actually teaching at our retreat this year. Yeah, so we went to say hi to Tammy and pet her sheep and give her some hugs.
I think she had like a Cotswold and a Wensleydale there, maybe 2 sheep, a big one and a little one.
Yeah, I don't know. They were cute and they were
supposed to know.
And they were fuzzy. That's right. I am not a vet. So
cats and dogs, people, not sheep and cows. Definitely not horses.
So what did you get at Fiberfest?
So I had these are Wing and a Prayer Farm. From Rhinebeck. I picked up 3 of these. I wanted to knit like a smaller garment. She hadn't had her alpaca at the last few markets she'd done, and she had it at Rhinebeck, so I'm like, I need that. So I bought, I think, about 900 yards of it. This is her September base. It's a light sport, 20% Shetland wool, 80% this gorgeous gray alpaca, 300 yards per 100 grams. So I got that, and then after sitting watching it in my stash for a while, I thought, you know what, I'd like to knit something a little bit more substantial. I want to get something to go with it. The yarn that she had, the alpaca that she had there on Sunday was kind of close to this in color and not really different enough to do a contrast, which is what I want to do. I want to do the Aquila pullover. It's like a lightweight sweater. It's got like scallopy, like a color change from dark to light as you go down the body. So it's really pretty. What is her name on Fruity Knitting? Andrea knit one, a really pretty one in red and white, I think. It's really nice. That one's in cashmere. But they had this. There was a vendor, Purgatory Falls, who was out of New Hampshire. I think
I've never seen them before.
She's only like an hour and a half out of Boston, I think, is what the website said.
It's really beautiful yarn.
Yeah, so it's the vendor said that it's like knitting with butter. It's super soft. It's a 3-ply sport weight. 90% Surrey alpaca and 10% Polworth silk, 200 yards per 2.5 ounces. It's their dark gray color. It is this lovely tonal charcoal gray, and it looks like it's like kissing cousins with all this other alpaca I had. So
it probably doesn't show on the camera, but the sheen from the silk is
it's
really,
lovely.
really stunning.
And the samples she had at the booth are just like so nice and drapey and soft, and I can't wait to cast on with it, along with everything else I have ready to cast on. But so perfect, so beautiful. I don't knit with a ton of alpaca. I'm hoping that the wool content in the silk is enough to just make it sticky enough to use for a garment. But if not, there's always shawls. But really pretty yarn, really happy with it. And Tammy's lovely. She comes to the fiber retreat and does some dyeing workshops for Anna, and she's a lot of fun. Yeah, really pretty yarn.
Yeah, so I think that was all of our projects that we wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I was going to show you. No, I forgot about my bag. So this was the only thing that I got at the Fiberfest. This is a cute little bag from Woodsy and Wild. Her name is Shannon, and I actually have been watching her since she first opened her business and started making her bags, and just the attention that she puts into the design and the details has just been stunning. It's been so much fun watching her grow and improve, and just take a look at that hardware. Like, the details are so nice. She has a nice sturdy zipper, and this fabric, it was basically made for me because it's kind of witchy and I love it. And then she told me that this fabric was discontinued, so I had to have it. And actually, we've been chatting about getting her bags in the shop, which I'm really excited about. Yeah. So that was my one purchase, and it's got, flat bottom, so you can put your yarn in it and have it stand up. And then after that, I had some ramen noodles and went to work. So that was my Fiberfest experience, but I know that they had some speakers and other events that we weren't able to be there for, and it's nice to see something like that happening in Boston.
Yeah, I stayed a little bit later and listened to a talk by the author of Natural Dyeing, the book. That's the blue one with all the little yarn clumps on the front. And
show notes.
Show notes, yeah. But she said that she's from Southern California, and the climate there is so permissive to so many different plants that, like, you can have blue spruce in one yard and, like, yucca in the next yard, and there's just it's like a playground basically for dyers, because there's just so much different, and avocados everywhere. You can get like 3 different colors from avocados. So
and here it's frozen
really
tundra.
Fun. Yeah, blizzard, New England nor'easter wasteland right now.
Some friends of mine actually last weekend on Saturday, when it was so cold, were taking a class on foraging and outdoor survival.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, out in the snow, and so they were learning how to eat different parts of trees. So yeah, it's definitely not a very rich landscape up here.
Yeah, I like me some unpleasant times outside, like with all my backpacking military stuff, but I don't do cold weather very well. It's just...
You're going to be eating trees.
No, I don't want to eat trees. I want to eat Chinese food and sushi and drink sake.
Soon. All right. So that's what we wanted to share today as far as projects, but one thing that we did want to say, so that we're very clearly setting the tone for this podcast, is we wanted to say that this is not a non-political space, because we are very politically involved people, and we have witnessed and participated in the discussions that have happened in the yarn community about exclusion of people of color, and I have definitely participated in the conversation as an immigrant and a Latina. So we just want to be very clear up front that we are aware of those issues, sensitive to them, and that this is absolutely an inclusive space. And we even use the word inclusion with the understanding that inclusion within existing systems of oppression isn't necessarily the goal, but rather the dismantling of that. But we wanted to make sure that we addressed that and said that up front. And so we just want to say that you are all welcome here. And as this evolves and progresses, we hope to have some guests speaking with us on the show, and we're going to try and represent all sorts of different voices. And if you have actually survived to the end of this, and the camera's actually still on, hopefully this time, thank you for hanging out with us. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on, what was good, what could be better, what you'd like to hear from us.
Oh, I know what we forgot to do. So yeah, just to close, again, I'm Erin. You can find me on Instagram at eturowski, on Ravelry at eturowski. It's ETUROWSKI.
Show notes.
I
have 2 Instagram accounts. I have at circleofstitches. It doesn't have the of because Twitter didn't have enough characters when I made it. That's the shop Instagram. At toilandtrouble. Same issue about not enough characters. That's the dyeing Instagram. I am definitely more active on the shop Instagram, but we hope you want to connect with us on there. And
we are both pretty active on Instagram and on Ravelry too.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yes, we do. I am on Ravelry as well, as Circle of Stitches and Toil and Trouble. We do have a shop group. I guess we'll see if we end up making a group for this podcast or not.
Yeah, we'll get feelers out. There's room to grow.
So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. We're Censored Double Decreases from Salem, Massachusetts.
And we're going to go eat some sushi and Chinese food now.
Yes.
At Gourmet Garden in Swampscott, which is delicious.
If they're open, I think they are.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully they're not closed with the snowstorm.
Yeah.
So Thank you.
Thank you. Happy knitting.